Today we're back reading some more Entitled Parents and it's going to be so fun. Excited for this one. I love the long form episodes. There's something awesome about sitting back and relaxing and reading terrifying stories. Enjoy, guys. Neighbor opens up my parcel and shouts at me for the contents. I can't even believe this conversation just happened. The sheer entitlement and ridiculousness of it made me laugh, but also left me speechless. I ordered a mug from Amazon as a gift to my best mate. The mug has the C word on it with the C as the handle. Cute mug, would recommend. Anyway, there's a house on the street next to mine that has a very similar address to mine and will often get their post and they sometimes get mine. For example, my address will be something like number 6 random street and theirs is number 6 random side street. It's annoying as they're different plus or minus one word, but the names of myself and that family are so wildly different that you'd think the postman or any delivery driver might have gotten used to that by now, but I digress. I had the notification from Amazon to say that my mug had been delivered and it was in the safe place. I go to check and it isn't, so I go round to similar address house to see if it was indeed there, and I get no answer. I decide that I'll try again and or they'll bring it over before I contact Amazon. A few days pass and they don't bring my parcel around, so I get Amazon to replace it. But then half an hour ago, there was a knock on my door. I open the door to the father of the family at similar address holding my Amazon parcel that's been opened, and he quite literally throws it at me. Before I can even form words, he says, "My 11-year-old child opened that. Don't you ever order something so disgusting again. How dare you?" And started to storm off. I register what the hell he just said, and I shout after him, "Wait, what? No one should be opening my post anyway. That's a criminal offense. How dare you have the cheek to come to my house and berate me for opening my post?" He just waved his hand at me dismissively and carried on walking. I just stood there for a good minute trying to figure out if that actually just happened. Well, it did, and now I have 2 C-word mugs. I'm so tempted to leave one on his doorstep with a note saying, "You can keep it, mate. It's definitely been made for you." Wow, that would be so funny. But you're getting angry at you because they opened your mail? Like, you're allowed to order whatever the hell you want. The point is, they're not meant to open it, and the fact they don't realize that is so bad. The worst Karen I've ever seen caused a blow up for the ages because I wouldn't give her son a black belt on his first day of karate. Background: I teach Kenpo karate as a 2nd degree black belt. I also have an assistant, Kira, a 1st degree black belt in her own right. I don't own the gym, my instructor does, but since he's gotten older, me and Kira handle the younger classes while he handles the business side of things plus the adult class. We have 3 classes: kids class ages 5 to 10, intermediate class ages 11 to 15, and the adult class ages 16 and up. So the kids class just ended when a woman walks in with her son. She says that her 13-year-old son wants to take karate lessons, so I shake my hands with her and I have her sit down with my instructor to fill out the waivers and get him his gi measurements. Other students file in for the intermediate class and me and Kira get down to business. I take the bulk of the class, around 15 kids, while Kira goes with the new student one-on-one to teach him basic strikes and stances. Not even 5 minutes later, I hear Kira upset, telling the new boy to do 10 push-ups. Why? He called Kira, who's essentially a volunteer, an effing biatch. Karen, the mother, stands up and says that her son can't do push-ups as she doesn't want her son to be sore. Kira lets him do the push-ups on his knees, but 5 minutes later she makes him do 20 more, since he's now called her an S-word. Oh my god. For reference, Kira is in her early 20s and the boy is 13. Not to mention there's other parents and kids here as well. It's wholly inappropriate. So I walk over and I ask Kira to switch with me. As she does, she gives me bug eyes and mouths, "What the hell?" So I walk over and I ask the boy why he insulted my assistant Kira. He said that he doesn't like girls. Wow, what? When I asked him what he meant, he said he only listens to his dad or other boys. Yeah, that's revolting. He won't listen to me at all. He needs some discipline. The mother confirms to me, chuckling, as if raising a monster is something to laugh about. "When do I get a black belt like you have?" the boy asks me. Mind you, he's been punching the air the entire time. This boy is aggressively hyper. Well, it takes quite a while. I've been training since I was 5, and I earned my black belt at 21, so it took me a while. "Nah, I don't want to wait that long. I want mine now," he says, his chubby face now red and sweaty from the shadow boxing. The mother motions me over and whispers in my ear, "Do you think you could give him one just to make him happy?" "Oh yeah, cause that's a good idea." "No, sorry, he has to earn one. We aren't a belt factory." Well, he never gets told no. Yeah, that's bloody obvious. I'm sorry, but that's not how we do things here. I have money, I can pay you extra. No, sorry, we only give belts when they're earned. After several minutes of arguing and conversation that leads nowhere, Karen snaps at me. I paid you, now give my son a black belt. She stands up and points a finger in my face. It was so sudden that I took a step back. Hey, chill out, lady. Some of the other parents chime in. Before I can even reply to Karen, I hear a loud commotion behind me. I hear more parents and students shouting. I turn and I see new boy smacking and hitting a girl in the class. Kira is shouting, hey, stop. However, this girl that new boy is hitting is a purple belt and a little badass of her own. She loads a front kick and hits brat boy's center mass right in his flappy stomach. He shouts and doubles over, crying tears of pain. I was so freaking proud of her. Hey, that little biatch hurt my son. Karen runs past me onto the mat and gets in the face of the 14-year-old girl that her son just attacked. This girl's already scared and starts to cry, but Karen ups the ante and shoves this girl in the chest with her hand. Kira gets between them and is red-faced enraged. I immediately rush over and I try to defuse the situation, but neither of them are having it. Parents stand up and they start shouting, keep your hands off my daughter. The girl's father, who was with the other parents, yells at Karen. He starts approaching aggressively but backs off when he realizes me and Kira, both black belts, are by her. Now, you should know something about Kira. She's under 5 foot, less than 110 pounds soaking wet, but she can still kick my ass up and down the mat on any given day. She's fast and accurate and insanely flexible. She can control her body and perform techniques that I just simply can't. So, Kira and Karen get into a shouting match with each other. I tell Karen to leave with your kid and don't come back. Don't you ever lay a hand on any of my students. Do you understand? I raised my voice and I was genuinely pissed off. F you, my son needs a black belt and you won't give him one. She screams at me. Your son is crazy. He attacked our students. Kira interjects, but this sets Karen off as she reaches and tries to slap Kira in the face. Ha ha ha, big mistake. Having had enough, Kira parries the smack and fires an absolutely vicious leg kick right into the meat of Karen's inner thigh with nothing held back. The slap sound of Kira's shin bone decimating Karen's thigh echoed off the ceiling like a slab of meat getting thrown onto the floor. It was glorious. Karen was gasping as she fell onto the mat in a heap. Oh my god. She held her leg as brat boy got up and rushed over at Kira. I got in front of her and I grabbed the boy's wildly swinging arms. He hit me a few times, but I refused to hit children whatsoever. I let him tire himself out. One of the parents called the police. After interviewing everyone involved, they determined that Kira and myself acted in self-defense. Neither of us wanted to pursue assault charges against Karen, but the parents of the girl that Karen shoved rightly felt differently about it, so Karen was hauled away in handcuffs. Karen said that she'd sue me and Kira in civil court, but since we have legal waivers, he's hoping that nothing comes of that. As for the boy, I honestly felt bad. His childhood has been robbed by piss-poor parenting, and I wish we could have had more time to straighten him out. I have particular dislike for his views of women, and I feel like I really could have helped turn him around. Maybe, but maybe not. So yeah, that was my experience tonight. I hope you all enjoyed reading it more than I did going through it. Oh my god, that was unbelievable. Imagine going to somewhere that teaches karate and causing crap and fighting with them. Like, did you forget that these people know how to fight? And how they thought there was nothing wrong with giving their kid a black belt for no reason? Well, I'm kinda in disbelief after this. Entitled parent dumped his child in our wagon. So I posted this in a Facebook group and I was told it belonged here. I have a new, literally a few weeks old, wonderful W4 wagon. I'm in the UK, so here they come with a pretty hefty price tag. I took my kids to the park in it and I put it beside the bench, just a couple of feet from the swings where my youngest wanted to go. I was watching it like a hawk, like it was another one of my babies. A couple walked up and they pushed it around to try it out. That was irritating enough, but then a dad walked up to it with a dirt-covered kid and sat him inside it. I flipped out at him. He actually got offended that I was telling him off. He said that his child was tired and it looked comfy. There was a bench literally right next to it. The seat that he put him in also had some of my son's sensory equipment on it. We got this wagon literally as assistive equipment for my son who has sensory processing disorder and a neurological muscular dystrophy. If it were a stroller or a wheelchair, would this guy have thought it was appropriate? I don't know, but either way, I wasn't impressed. A couple of people said he may have just been testing to see if anyone was watching, so he could steal it. If that's the case, that's just a whole other case of entitlement. Yeah, I don't understand people who think they can do stuff like this. Like, yeah, how are you this entitled and also inconsiderate? And inconsiderate for other people's stuff? I don't know, but it's super fun to read. Entitled mum parentifies daughter because she's too lazy to properly raise her two other kids. kids is upset when daughter wants nothing to do with the siblings. Am I the a-hole for being upset that my daughter didn't invite her siblings to her wedding? I, 47 female, had my daughter Claire while I was in college. She was definitely an oops baby, but I love her all the same. Long story short, I got married when I was 30 and I have 2 kids, 10 male and 7 female, with my husband, and they are of course Claire's younger siblings, but I don't think she loves them like siblings. When she came home from college for the summer, she always spent time with her friends and cousins and never with her siblings. I asked her to watch them so that my husband and I could have a break, but she said that she was too busy. But I know that she had time because she didn't have kids or a job. Anyway, Claire recently sent out invitations for a wedding. Her fiance is a good guy, but he always encouraged Claire to spend time with his family instead of ours. And more importantly, he always wanted her to spend time with him and away from her siblings. Regardless, I've been polite and cordial with him. However, when I saw the invitations, I was appalled. You guys, their wedding is child-free. Children are the most important thing in our family tradition. To not include them in their wedding is a slap in the face to everything that our family stands for. Even so, I respect her decision. However, when I called her up to confirm that her younger siblings were still invited, she laughed in my face. I understand not wanting all of her cousins and nieces and nephews there, but to exclude her own siblings is heartless, and I told her as much. She called me entitled for trying to dictate what she does with her own wedding, and when I tried to explain I was just looking out for my other kids, and that she's not my only kid no matter how much she wishes that she was, she hung up on me, and now she's not speaking to me. Am I the a-hole, and how can I get her to include her other siblings? Yeah, like the top comment says, she was definitely an oops baby. Everything about how you talk to her and about her in this post makes it apparent that you treated her this way. Children are the most important thing in our family tradition, like here, but I know that she had time because she didn't have kids or a job, and here. But most importantly, her fiance is a good guy, but he always encouraged Claire to spend time with his family instead of ours. And more importantly, he always wanted her to spend time with him and away from her siblings. Here, because you see her spending time with her fiance as not spending time with her siblings. You see a young woman spending time with the man that she's gonna marry, and your first thought is, but what about my children? Listen, if you had the self-awareness or emotional maturity to understand or accept what anyone is saying here, I'm 100% sure that we wouldn't be here in the first place. So I'm confident I'm just enjoying the sound of my own voice at this point. But let me make it abundantly clear, you the a-hole. You treat your daughter like an afterthought to your happy little family, but you expect her to make them her absolute priority, and she's sick of it. But good news, if you keep going down this track, you'll find you only now have your children to worry about, as your daughter will likely go complete no contact. Yeah, and that would be super sad. But yeah, they've 100% parentified them, and that's not good. My friend's parents broke into my house and they killed my pet snake because he was the sign of the devil. I'm 23 female currently. This happened about 2 years ago. I had a 3-year-old fancy corn snake named Popcorn. I invited my friend over. She liked snakes, but her parents were overly Christian and they claimed that snakes were the sign of the devil, so she had to pretend that she hated them. So anyway, she came over and we talked and we fed the snake and played video games, and then she left. When she got home, she must have told her parents that I had a snake, so about a week later they snuck in through the living room window where I kept my snake, opened his enclosure lid and grabbed him. The next morning I went downstairs to say good morning to Popcorn. I noticed he was gone, but I wasn't too worried because, well, he was probably hiding. I watched for a bit and then my friend was frantically knocking on my door. I opened it and she looked extremely sad and worried. She told me that her parents had killed Popcorn. I didn't believe her, so I checked his entire enclosure and sure enough, he was gone. I called the cops and she was fortunately arrested for breaking and entering, though I still feel like she deserved more. I got a new snake, but he isn't the same. Oh my god, that's awful. How revolting. Like, what do you even do in a situation like this? Like, you've got to be a certain type of awful to do stuff like this. Yuck. My entitled parents are stalking me to start talking to them again. Hi there, I made a post somewhere else about my parents wanting me to sign their car in my name, but it's been nearly 2 years since then, and after cutting contact, my mum has shown up at my old house for my birthday, knowing I wasn't interested in seeing her anymore. She also told her boss about me, and the woman found me at my job on accident because I work in customer services. She seemed to feel like my mum lied to her about when we finished talking, but I guess she still told my mum where I worked. So a month later, my mum drove halfway across town, brought only water refills which were 38 cents a gallon, and stood behind me for apparently a good few minutes until I turned around and saw her. I immediately started screaming at her to leave, and first she looked annoyed and then she ran off and started laughing, so I cussed her out. Honestly, she acted like a bratty teenager and not a 50-something-year-old woman. Manager was really cool about the whole thing. Apparently another employee has been dealing with a similar situation with my mum. I've talked to a judge at this point and the police. Not enough for a restraining order, but I've been told to file a police report on both the store incident and her coming to my home, which I did. I guess I'm just documenting what's happening now until the law gets sick of the incidents popping up. Holy, this is an intense episode today, guys. How are you guys doing so far? But yeah, so they think that the way to get you to start talking to them again is by stalking you. Oh, I'm sorry that you have to go through stuff like this. Cousin was mad that I didn't barbecue food without seasoning for her baby. On the weekend immediately after July 4th, I hosted a family barbecue. My slightly older cousin in her mid-30s had told me that she was not coming a week in advance. Then about 2 hours before the event, she changes her mind and tells me that she's coming with her husband and her 1.5 female baby. This wasn't a problem because we bought enough food for there to be lots of leftovers. While we were there, my husband and I were slaving away in front of 3 different barbecues in the yard to cook for a group of 24 plus people and a baby. We didn't have time to take a break or go inside with everybody else. They were inside because it was raining. During this time, my cousin or her husband constantly came over to complain about our food. What? At your own barbecue? They were the only ones who complained that the food was too salty. Everyone else who came over to speak with us loved and devoured the food. After the Wagyu tomahawks were served, my cousin came over again. This time her face was red and she was livid. It was red from anger and not drinking. She's a non-drinker. She started complaining that we should have known better, that her baby couldn't eat such salty foods, and that we should have made separate food for them unseasoned. Yeah, but they didn't even know that you were coming 2 hours ago. How entitled. Oh yeah, that's the name of the subreddit. I told her there was no way we could have done that. We already bought all the food that we needed beforehand. Everything was seasoned or dry brined ahead of time. I suggested giving her a big bowl of water so she could try washing off any seasoning before feeding her baby, but she said that wasn't good enough. That's when her husband showed up and suggested that I go to the butcher and buy another tomahawk and come back. That way their daughter could also have some unseasoned. My husband said no, we weren't wasting time, gas and money on a 1.5-year-old. Even if we did, she obviously wouldn't have been able to finish an entire steak. I just don't understand what changed. She was never like this before she had her kid. Now she expects the world to revolve around her and her kid. Is this something that involuntarily happens to a large percent of new parents? I don't know, but that's so bad. I am now a parent, so therefore I'm gonna be entitled. Like, they're out of their minds if they think that what they did was acceptable. Imagine going to somebody else's house where they're hosting a barbecue for you and not only complaining about the food, but suggesting that they should go and buy more stuff and make different stuff on top of that. That's ridiculous and so rude. Entitled parent ruins wedding. First time posting here, and fair warning, I'm jet lagged and on my cell, so I'm sorry if the writing is not up to par, but I'm livid at this super entitled parent that didn't give a crap about ruining a major life moment for almost 90 people. So yesterday, our dear friends got married in the most epic and intimate ceremony. They did allow children at this wedding, however the plan was to have the kids in the balcony space so that if somebody needed to take a child out they could. I later confirmed this fact with the bride. Our group gets up to the ceremony and we're seated. We look around and we notice we're surrounded in all sides by children under the age of 9. We're all child free by choice, so we were giving each other a little side eye, but honestly most of the kids were really good and their parents were able to non-verbally communicate to them when they needed to shush, and they got it. The ceremony starts and it seems like it was all going to be fine. The groom and the bridal party walk in and we're all preparing for the bride when this kid behind us starts loudly whining to his mum to give him his cars. I want my cars, I want my cars. He was so demanding, and instead of her parenting him, she starts shuffling through her bag for his toys. Distracting, but whatever, maybe the car will shut him up. Oh god, I hate this already. The bride walks in and the ceremony starts. It was a beautiful mix of religious traditions and creative additions of things that were meaningful. The entire time, this kid is making loud noises and slamming his toys around. I had to cut my ear with my hand to hit the ceremony, and many others were turning around to look and see what the noise was about. Even the bridal party was looking around, which you would think the mother would notice and then get the memo to take her kid out. But no, he gets louder and louder, screaming about his cars or whatever. His mum does nothing. Finally, during the point in the ceremony where the mother of the bride was trying to recite a blessing, a member of our party turned around and told the mum that her child was being very disruptive and asked her to take him out, which I was really grateful for. She huffed and puffed her way out finally, and we think this is over. Wrong. At the reception, this entitled mother stomps up to me. I was in the middle of an important catch-up conversation. She demands to know who I am and who my friends were that were sitting next to me. I told her we're close friends of the bride and groom, and then she demands to know our names. I told her whatever, but then she marches around looking for my friend who asked her to leave. And when she found him, she starts screaming F you, telling all within earshot that she can't believe the bride and groom would be friends with such a terrible person. I walked over and I asked her what her real issue was, and she said it was my friend's tone. I told her that it was really disappointing that we missed the blessing because of her disruptive child. She's pointing her finger and waving her palms in my face, saying how it's her right to have her son there with her. Because of all the commotion, a friend of hers comes up to see what's going on. The entitled mother goes on about how we attacked her. Oh my god, kick them out at this point. And her friend then actually out loud goes, "Oh, I left my kid at home," with a chuckle. And then the entitled mother comes back at me with her sass hands and demands to know if I have kids, to which I chuckled and said no, thinking in my head, so that I can avoid crap like this. She then flicked her hand in my face and stomped away. This woman had no business having her child in the main ceremony room. She refused to honor the request to keep the children in the balcony, but also had no parental control like the other people with kids. Like, whatever, I'm just a friend, but I know the bridal party was having a hard time trying to concentrate due to this child. The audacity of this parent will forever be seared into the memory of this destination wedding for us. I mean, wow, this woman was top tier entitled. Yeah, and they don't even care that they're ruining it for everybody else. It's so sad. I just don't understand how they don't see that they're in the wrong. That's the most confusing part about stuff like this. Like, anybody on the earth could tell that you're in the wrong, but they're like, no, it's my right to ruin a wedding for everybody. Very, very cringe. The public street parking is only for the park. I work in a downtown area, so parking is mostly street. Today I parked next to one of the playground parks. I got out, gathered my work stuff, and locked my car. Behind me, a van rolled up. The driver rolled down the window. Driver, are you leaving? This happens a lot. Parking is hard to come by within the first 3 blocks of the commercial center of town. Me, no, sorry, I just parked. Driver, well, you can't park there. That parking is for parents going to the park. I've been working and living around here for 10 years. There definitely isn't street parking only for the park. Me, it's public parking, good luck. If you need to unload your kids, there's room there. Just throw your hazards on. I pointed to a one-way drive, waved goodbye, and started to leave. The driveway belongs to a church. Near as I can tell, they don't mind people turning around in there or stopping quick to unload their cars. I've pulled many U-turns in their driveway to get other parking spots before. Nobody said anything about it. Anyway, the driver rolled the other window down after I crossed the street to continue to say things. You really should move your car. We're going to the park. Just find another spot. I'm not moving my car. I have to go to work. Good luck finding a spot. Driver, I'll have you towed. That parking is for the park only. I waved and I kept walking. Lo and behold, my car did not get towed. Maybe they thought they could scare me out of my spot. Who knows? People are wild. Yeah, they 100% are. Yeah, and while we're on a story that isn't too intense, I feel like we should leave the episode there, guys. That was so fun, and I hope you had a wonderful time. But now let's read something wholesome. Hugh Jackman on Twitter. I know, my selfie skills are terrible, but just look at this baby penguin and everything will appear better. Aww. The beautiful little fella. I love that so much. Hell yeah, Hugh Jackman. I was eating at a restaurant, and as I looked outside, I saw a homeless girl staring at me. I invited her to my table with social distancing, and we enjoyed our meals that we ordered together. When asked for the bill, they sent it $0 with it. You did well. Now it's our turn. Karma is real. Wow, that's so beautiful. So they didn't let you pay? That's so awesome of the restaurant. Oh, that's heartwarming. Bad news. I accidentally washed a nice wool shirt that I really loved, and it shrunk a lot. Good news. Oh, that's so cute. Oh my god, it's a perfect fit. You look fabulous. Nurse, sorry for the waiting. My dad, no problem. I'm patient. The nurse, my dad. It's always a good time for a dad joke. And honestly, terrible jokes like this, I feel like are the funniest types of jokes. And once again, thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you had a wonderful time. And if you did, make sure you like and subscribe, all that fun stuff. And the comment of the day goes to Laura83. Your storytime videos are my favorite. I listen to them like podcasts while I do other stuff. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad you enjoy them. And who knows, maybe you did that with this episode. The storytime episodes are so fun. Just sitting back, relaxing, and doing stuff like this is so awesome. And yeah, it makes me so happy that you guys enjoy them too. Okay, I'm gonna go make some dinner because I'm super hungry. But yeah, let's do this again tomorrow, shall we, guys? Make sure you look after yourself and make sure you have a beautiful, amazing rest of your day. And you know what I'm about to say because I say it every single day. Bye!